If you lived in London, as I do, this is what you might see of an early... The great city to awaken, come to life. The people of London have begun a new day. Some of us Londoners travel to work on omnibuses. Others travel on motorbikes, bicycles, lorries, autos. Still others go underground to board the speedy trains of the tube. And in central London, thousands of working men and women mix with a large number of shoppers. And the traffic jams sometimes become monumental. Still, our patient, hard-working bobbies manage to straighten everything out in good time. By the by, our Metropolitan Police Force was organized in 1828 by Sir Robert Peel. It's from Sir Robert's nickname that we get the familiar term bobbies for our police. How surprised he'd be to see the kind of work his bobbies do today. In other parts of London, visitors catch their first sight of our city. Some visitors arrive by train, and others by aeroplane. Our visitors come from all over the world, and especially from English-speaking countries: Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the United States. Most of our London cabbies are admirable guides. Perhaps I might take a leaf from their book and have the pleasure of showing you parts of our great and historic city. Shall we start with a map of London? Our city covers an area close to 700 square miles, and this area is home to well over 8 million people. The first thing you notice about London is that it's built along the banks of the River Thames, which winds through the metropolis. London is generally marked off into 3 main divisions: the city, a small central area, London County, and Greater London. To get acquainted, let's drive past some of the places you've heard or read about. The British Museum, for instance. Here it is, certainly one of the largest museums in Western Europe. Now for some other familiar sights. Buckingham Palace, where the royal family usually live when they're in London. The very modern American Embassy building with its great eagle. Trafalgar Square, where many of our political rallies are held. And of course, St. Paul's Cathedral, the largest Protestant church in the world. London, of course, is the center of many business activities. This is famous Fleet Street, where more English-language newspapers, magazines, and books are published than any place else in the world. And here's Oxford Street, with its large department stores and fine specialty shops. This is a street in our district of Soho, known for its dozens of restaurants featuring foods from all over the world. And here's part of another district, the West End, famous for its theaters. One landmark in the West End is this busy intersection called Piccadilly Circus. From Piccadilly in the West End, you can board one of our buses that will take you to other parts of London. This section of London, one of the oldest, we call the City, and it really is old. For example, even though it's been modernized since, this building was put up several years before the Great London Fire of 1666. This is the monument to that fire which destroyed much of London. At the top is an observation platform from which you can see a large part of London. This view shows the most striking geographic feature of our city, the River Thames. The Thames estuary leads into the North Sea. This broad, deep river has made London a center of world sea trade for centuries. London was a thriving commercial center as early as medieval times. Our medieval history is best symbolized by the grim Tower of London. The tower was begun about 1100, and in medieval times was a fortified castle of the king. About 1600, the impressively uniformed yeomen became a familiar sight, and we still see them today at the tower. Spanning the Thames from the tower is Tower Bridge, one of the famous bridges across the river. It's best seen from the deck of a Thames barge. The same barge will take us past London Bridge. A bridge has been standing on this spot since the 12th century. A third famous bridge is Westminster Bridge. Crossing it, we come to Westminster Abbey. The Abbey is truly one of London's most beloved buildings. Not only have our kings and queens been crowned here in colorful ceremony over the centuries, but much that we cherish in our long history will be found in the Abbey. This is the stately chapel of King Henry VII, hung with the proud banners of medieval knights. And this is the Poets' Corner, with its memorials to Shakespeare, Johnson, Dickens, Browning, and so many more of the giants of our English literature. Only a few steps from the Abbey is another historic landmark, the Houses of Parliament. I'm sure you're familiar with the tall clock tower and the clock commonly called Big Ben. It has told the hours of many sessions of Parliament which meets here, for London is the political capital of the United Kingdom. Historically, London is also a world trade capital. Canada and other countries, including India and Australia, maintain large commercial office staffs engaged in commerce. The center of this commerce is the busy, noisy London dock area, where we're always sure to find merchant ships from many nations. The cargoes being unloaded change from day to day, but they will always tell something of the different items we need to import for our factories and shops. Let's find out what's being imported today, shall we?
This cargo here is tinned fruit from South Africa. This is wool from Australia. This is butter from New Zealand.
Away from the docks, many Londoners have jobs related to the shipping trade. These gentlemen work for one of the many banks in London which finance overseas trade.
Has anything been happening over the last 2 or 3 days?
Oh, yes. Gears Engineering want to borrow another $500,000 today.
Oh, yes. Do you think they'll get it?
Oh, undoubtedly they'll get it, yes. It's for their large West Indian contract.
Oh, yes. They've been up a very impressive export business over the last year or two, haven't they?
Yes, growing the whole time.
Besides banking, London is also a center for firms which insure shipping. This building is the home office of Lloyd's of London, the organization known round the world for all kinds of insurance. A far more colorful kind of commerce is found in any of London's several open-air markets. This is one of the most famous, Covent Garden Market, which takes its name from the fact that it was held on the grounds of a medieval convent. Covent Garden is especially known for its wide variety of country fresh fruits and vegetables sold both to the wholesale and retail trades. But for real trading and haggling between buyer and seller, nothing can quite match the market in Petticoat Lane. Here, Londoners gather to purchase almost anything. To be sure, there are bargains by the dozen, but all prices will be talked over again and again, and again. In contrast to the hubbub of the marketplaces are the sounds of London's industry. Our clothing factories, for example, produce ready-to-wear clothing known for high quality all round the world. Also known round the world are English biscuits, sweets, pastries, and other foods which are processed in London factories. Among our light industries is the production and assembly of electronic equipment. At 5 o'clock or thereabout, when the workday is ended, Londoners begin to return home. For those who live in the suburbs, which may be some 15 or 20 miles from central London, pottering about in the garden is a favorite relaxation. For those living within Greater London, a visit to one of our beautifully landscaped parks satisfies our need to be close to nature. London has one of the finest park systems of any city. Several parks have special attractions. One of the leading zoos in all Europe is located in Regent's Park, and it's a favorite with the children of London.
See there, Susan. Those birds come from North America. They look jolly fierce. Michael, don't lean over so far.
Do as your mother tells you, Michael.
All right, Dad. It's just that they put on such a show.
Besides the animals in Regent's Park, another favorite London show nowadays is watching the face of the city change. Building construction is going on at a very fast pace. It gives many the opportunity to see 20th century London growing. More and more large buildings, you'd call them apartment buildings, with hundreds of flats, are being built to house our growing London population. Though we Londoners are quite fond of the new and modern, we still enjoy the traditional sights and sounds of our city best of all. This is one of them, the daily ceremony of mounting the guard at Whitehall. How we love this colorful affair, filled as it is with the centuries-old tradition of one mounted troop relieving another to stand guard over the lives and property of the royal family. The color and music of this traditional ceremony link us Londoners today with those of past generations. Now, with what I've shown you of the sights of London, I hope you feel you know our city somewhat better than before. Probably no one will ever know it completely, but in London you will always find something to interest you, whether the city or the people.